Hello, everyone. For those who are tuning in for the very first time, I am Maneet Malu, a life coach for children and an NLP practitioner. In my podcast, we dig deep into the life of inspiring individuals from diverse walks of life. We uncover their quests, their challenges, and wisdom they have gathered all throughout their journey towards growth and success in life. Education is the most powerful tool to shape the future. The early years of a child's learning lay the foundation for a lifetime of growth. Today, we are honored to have someone with us who nurtures young minds with love, creativity, and innovation. Akansha Kaur is the founder and principal of Little Bright Stars Preschool and Early Child Education Institute. Through her hard work and dedication, she has earned a recognition as one of the most inspiring educationists. She ensures that education is not just about academics but curiosity, character building, and confidence. We are privileged today to share her journey, her insights on early childhood education. Please welcome the incredible Akanksha Kaur.
Thank you, Maneet, so much for this beautiful opportunity. I'm sure we're going to have a great podcast.
So, Akanksha, every child is unique. Some are curious, some are explorers, and some take a lot of time to adapt to learnings. How does a preschool nurture different learning styles?
It's a brilliant question, Maneet. Firstly, you very rightly pointed out that children are all unique, and each child comes with their own capabilities and abilities. So, when it comes to children who are the curious lot, we give them learning activities such as a mystery box, where they don't know what they're really picking, and they're really in for the ability, and they have great fun with their mystery box. Whereas the ones who are a little frightened and a little they had that fear, that anxiety of
Right.
them coming on the first day to school. So for them, we just give them some rhymes, make them sing, and teach them various kinds of emotions by giving them charts and pictures. So yes.
So, in today's fast paced world, kids are exposed to screen at a very early age. How do you balance technology with traditional learning in a preschool setting?
So, I come from a traditional schooling of more formal education, and I'm not so much in for giving children a 50% screen time and a 50%, formal education. So, I would say that when they come to school and they're spending 2 hours in school, in preschool, I would give them, say, a 10 minutes to a maximum 20 minutes of screen time, which has audiovisual aids, and they're learning all about jolly phonics and rhymes, and they're having more interactive sessions through audiovisual aids. And then getting back to the traditional learning, which is books and Montessori apparatuses that are used, the play-based methods that we give them. So yes, an amalgamation, a beautiful amalgamation between both.
Amazing. So, preschool is often a child's first experience away from home, away from parents. How do you handle the separation anxiety, both for the child and the parent as well?
I firmly believe that it is very important to have a counseling session for parents
Correct.
much before a child enters school. And why do we have the counseling session is that first time mothers, they already come with that pre-notion that what is going to happen to my child? It's just going to be his first day of school. Will he be able to live without me? They have stories in their head, and their anxiety actually travels to the child, which I feel that should not happen. So when we have counseling sessions, just 1 or 2 days prior to the first day of the child, we tell them that, don't, when you're leaving your child at the gate, don't have a sad face. Tell them, sit with your child, counsel them at least 2 days before entering school, and tell them, oh, you're going to meet wonderful teachers who are going to love you as much as we do. You're going to meet new friends. You're going to play with them. You're going to get new toys that mama doesn't give you. So, a lot more for them to look forward than what is in the house. And definitely, we have to tell the parents that when they leave their child at the gate, to please leave them with a smile, and don't say that, Will you be able to stay without me? And mama is going to be, or dadu is going to be sad. You'll miss me. These are some sentences that should not be told to a child. They should just go with a very happy frame of mind and wave them and just, tell them have a great day.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Even mental well-being starts early for children as well. So how does a preschool setting ensure emotional security and resilience?
See, it's very important that the school has a very safe physical and social environment. When it comes to safe, is that, the parents are trusting you with their biggest and their only asset.
Right.
So you have to make that effort and take that initiative that children are kept in a very cozy environment. Make certain corners in a preschool with soft colors and make that into a reading circle where the child and the teacher, they're having their own bonding time, I would say. So that is something very important. It's also very important that a teacher and a child, they form that relationship, that they are like friends.
Correct.
Definitely teachers will be regarded as their guru. No doubt there's a fine line that the teacher has to draw between that. But a beautiful relation with a child makes work easier in a classroom.
Absolutely. Nowadays, a lot of parents, the new moms worry about the academic pressure at a very early age. So, how does a preschool balance structured living and play?
So basically, first thing we tell our parents that, see, your child is very small,
Right.
and they're not giving an ICC or an ISC exam. They're coming here. Their 2 hours that they spend in this day, in the preschool, it should be the best 2 hours. They are going to be given with a lot of toys, a lot of love, a lot of care. They're going to be taught, different things that they're not taught in the house. They will be given various equipments that one has not seen in the house, a lot of apparatuses which are not readily available in the house, which sometimes parents don't have that knowledge that what we're supposed to buy our child at first. So yes, a series of very interactive activities and very interesting ones, and not only toys but a lot of play is something that will calm the children. The entire anxiety and fear level, that will really diminish.
All right. Exactly. Like we tell and we are hearing about, how kids learn through the playway method. You're a leader, an educator, and possibly, of course, a parent. How do you manage the balance between a career, personal life, especially when it is so emotionally demanding?
I think it's just because of a fantastic family support. I have my in-laws who beautifully support me, my mother-in-law who just cancels everything whenever I need to go out and I need to tell her that where am I going to keep Bani. I think my daughter Bani. So there's never even a day when she says that, no, you carry on, you please go for your work, and I'm there. My husband, who's extremely, extremely supportive, he tells me, I think he's a major reason why I came back to work after giving birth to my daughter. And he was like, no, you are not meant, to just sit and waste your talent. Go out there and impart the knowledge that you had received all these years. And my father-in-law, who I don't even have to say anything, it's always given to me on the platter. And my sister-in-law is also there, who if we have to go somewhere, she'll fly down all the way just to be with my daughter. So
Wow, that's amazing.
it's a huge, huge family support that I get, because of which today I'm successful.
I mean, I'm so overwhelmed after hearing all that. A family support is the utmost priority and the utmost support everyone should have when they move out. Absolutely. All right. So, is there any piece of advice you want to give out to the parents about early childhood, and what would that be?
I think the best advice I would give the parents is that please let your child be.
Correct.
Let them grow like the way they're naturally growing in the natural environment. Don't restrict them to things. Don't get them on the very first day, don't get into the habits of disciplining them. No, discipline them. It is very important. But when it's needed, play with them, spend a lot of time with them, which nowadays, parents are not getting that kind of time. But I would say that, go a little extra, take extra steps for both the mother and the father to be with the child, because it makes a lot of difference in the well-being of a child.
We often say that, kids teach us as much as we teach them. So, has there been a surprisingly learning from any of the preschoolers in your school?
Oh, yes. Sometimes they come up with such questions and sometimes because you spend so much of time with them in a classroom, that they exactly know that when a teacher is having a sad day, when the teacher is not at its normal, mood or its normal sense, they actually come up and they give you just a hug or a peck on the cheek. And that, it
Wow.
is just beautiful. That entire thing, you're left with all the stresses back home and you're just enjoying that moment. And sometimes they'll even come and ask you, "Then, man, why are you so sad today?" They have that empathy in them, which is very good, which even a preschool brings out, they cater to those needs. So it's beautiful when we get to know such things.
And if tell me one thing, something which is interesting. If a child's imagination could design a preschool, what would it look like?
I would say Candyland. They would want the entire school to become a Candyland for them, because sugar is something which parents, they don't encourage at home,
Correct.
and something which you don't encourage or you stop your kids from doing, they tend to do it more. They want to get something sweet. So they would imagine the slide to be like a chocolate slide and rowing a boat in some milk chocolate river, like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, something like that.
I mean, I my mouth is watering for some sugary items. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Preschool is where kids take their first step outside home. So, what is that one moment that made you realize how powerful these steps are?
I think there's never a dull moment in this field.
Correct.
When you come to a preschool, you have to come not with a very prepared set of mind. When you come to a classroom, you'll meet all sorts of children with all sorts of emotions, and the way you deal with those emotions, some are very hilarious. They come with a joke in the morning that they want to crack about their mothers and their fathers. They want to say that today
They
what
have all
was
stories to tell.
absolutely, they have all the stories, and some are very embarrassing also, but some are real fun to hear. And it's just so nice to see their observation skills, because that's at such a reach. Like right now, what happens? We teachers, we don't have that curiosity, which children have. They have it more.
Yeah.
Just to observe that, it's just a seamless process.
From your experiences, what have been some of the biggest challenges mothers face when their child starts going towards preschool?
One is definitely whether my child will do very well or not. Whether my child can speak when he is 1.5 years old. There are parents who come and tell me that, "Ma'am, my child is 1.5 years old and he can't talk." But they don't know that children, it's okay if children don't even speak till the age of 4.5.
Is it?
Completely fine? Absolutely. They don't. It's not something that, they're
We need
suffering
to
for
worry about.
something. Yeah, absolutely not. It's completely fine. They will talk. They will talk at their own course of time. If they don't talk beyond 4 years old, then probably that's something to worry about. Then they might receive some help. But we, honestly, we are not bothered when a child does not even talk till 4, because they do mamble, they do bamble, and they do murmur some word.
Right.
So if they can murmur some words and they can tell you, uh, you know, then there's nothing to worry about. So that is one thing. Another thing is the pressure
Right.
that they have put among themselves, that, "Oh my God, my child, how will he write? He cannot write A, B, C, D when he is 2 years
It's all an illusionary pressure. It's nothing, there's no reality in it.
Absolutely. I mean, it's okay. It's completely fine if your children cannot write, because we actually believe that a child should be able to write when he's 3.6 years old. But even if that does not happen, doesn't matter. When the child is 4 years old, 4.5, he will gradually learn to write. It has to be a daily practice.
Absolutely.
If you're doing it daily, then he is bound to be able to write. But there are some parents who also, when they're very small, they'll give them a pen. That's very wrong. If you want to give something to your child, give them a crayon.
Crayon.
That's the initial thing that you should begin with, giving them a crayon, giving them, something to scribble. You don't teach them on the very first day to make a straight line, to make a slanting line, to make strokes. No, you don't do that. You just let them scribble and let them be the way they are.
Right. Also, what are the most common parenting mistakes according to you in an early childhood setup, and how can that be avoided?
See, there is nothing called good parenting and there's nothing called bad parenting. Parenting is a learning process, and every parent is bound to make mistakes. What is important is not that you're making mistakes. It is important that you're owning up to that mistake, you're adjusting yourself to it, you're rectifying it, and you're growing along with your child. That's what's important. Otherwise, mistakes, everybody, nobody is a perfect human being, nobody is a superhuman being. We are all there to make mistakes.
Right. So, what is the importance of a mother's involvement in the early years of a child's learning, and what are some of the effective ways a parent can engage in?
Well, I think a mother has 100% role when it comes to nurturing a child. Firstly, having a positive outlook, positive reinforcements to children is very important. If today, if I'm a mother who keeps on shouting at my child is not going to learn anything but but have a negative impact of my behavior. But if I have a behavior where I'm, always encouraging him, motivating him, telling him that, if he's colored something even wrong, but I've told him that how nicely you've used your colors, or even if they're coming and doing small things for you, um, encouraging that, and making them feel that yes, we know that you have done it. Making them feel that it has made a difference to me. That's something very positive that parents should do. And it's also more important that today mothers and fathers,
Right.
when they are as a couple, they must show that love and affection in front of a child, because for a child, that it's their first role model. So whatever the parents are doing in front of the child, showing, maybe it's spending some time, all together, three of them, play time, which is very important among the mother, father, a child. I would definitely say that a father has an equal role than what a mother has.
Yep.
Probably the mother must be nurturing, busy nurturing all that, but a father doesn't have a lesser role. He is considered to be the role model for his child. So he also has an equal responsibility. So if three of them do things together, the child, mother, and father, that has a huge positive impact in a child's growth.
All right, Akansha, tell me, what is your one piece of advice to all the mothers who are struggling to overcome the guilt of leaving their child at a preschool?
I just feel that the parents should not beat them up, beat themselves up for minor issues. And at the end, we all know that we want the best for our child.
Right.
And in order to get the best for our child, we do have to go out and we do have to provide them with the basic means, and we need to work. So we need to just see that they are happy and we are being able to fulfill their needs. And there's nothing like making the child sit on your lap and telling the child that, see, mama has to work. And if you want your toys, then mama has to go out there and work a little harder and provide you whatever you want. So that kind of, attitude a mother or a father must have. And the child also equally should be able to respect the mother and father's work schedule.
Right, right. All right, so it is impossible to keep the kids away from screens. Screen time is what every child demands. So, how can mothers ensure that child develops a healthy screen habit?
There are many programs that are there out in YouTube or Apple TV or various places. So there are some programs that are meant for kids. For example, we have Sesame Street, which is very good. The children tend to love that because it's like a puppet program.
All right.
It's a TV show. So that is there. We have Mrs. Rachel, who has a lot of interactive learning programs that she comes out with children. And she interacts with them, and she shows them stuff which, interests the children a lot, and also helps in stimulating their thinking process. So these are few things that, as I mentioned, which is very good for children to watch.
What can some of the working mothers do to play an active role in the child's early education?
So If you're a working mother and you want to play a very active role, is just by giving your child some time. I think you have to learn to prioritize everything in a day. You have to take out that extra time for your child, no doubt. You have to make strike a balance between work and your child. You must be like, I cannot give 20 hours to work and then 2 hours to my kid. No,
Right.
there has to be a line drawn between that. You must go to places where your child is invited. Birthday parties is such where I feel parents or mothers right now should go and spend some time. Maybe not all birthday parties, not all, a few probably, because they love it when they see other mothers being there.
Yeah.
They feel a little when they see that their mother's not there. So just few things like this, it would be great. A mother contributing where it comes to playing. Child loves to play.
Absolutely.
And if a child is given a choice between choosing TV and choosing mama, he will definitely choose mama any day. And he wants his mama to sit in front of him and play with his toys. He doesn't want anything extra. He just wants to spend that one-to-one basis time with mama. So that's a great thing to do.
Also, how can mothers encourage a love for learning without making it a daily routine or a habit?
By looking at and adopting many new techniques that are coming out in education. You shouldn't be restricted to what I learned in school. I will do that with my child. No, it does not work like that anymore. Each generation is smarter than the other. And um, this generation, the kids in this generation, they tend to become bored very easily.
Yeah.
So you have to constantly be on your toes and searching for activities. You don't have to go out there in the market and buy new toys and sit with your child. No, you can even sit and do something with the basic homemade stuff that you have and teach them. Make a play out of it and teach them. You can use your bed sheet also, make a tent house and sit in it and take a torch. That would be your ultimate light in a tent house, and tell a story to your child. Your child will love things like this. He doesn't need a princess tent house to come and you sitting and spending time. No, it matters that who's spending time with him, basically.
So, one piece of advice for the mothers who want to raise confident kids.
As I said earlier, just let your child be. Let him grow the way he's growing in his natural habitat. Don't change anything. When you need to discipline a child, you discipline. Don't over discipline a child. The best way to discipline a child is just take the child, put him on your lap, talk to him. Talk to him till he does not understand. But talk to him in a soft tone and try to make him understand the pros and cons of that situation.
All right, after the deep and incredible conversation with our dearest principal Akansha Kaur, let's lighten up the conversation and we've landed to our rapid fire segment. So, as you know, the rapid fire segment has no rules, simply the instinctive answers that comes up to your mind when I read out the following questions. Let's begin.
Perfect.
One skill every preschooler should learn.
Self-regulation. Very important.
All right. A parenting myth you'd like to burst.
That all good parents don't do anything wrong. They're always right. It's the biggest myth that I would bust.
Okay. Your favorite part of working with young children.
To see the curiosity side in them.
One word to describe the ideal preschool environment.
Home, my second home. Leaving one home and coming to another home.
Amazing. If you could give parents just one golden rule for raising happy kids, what would it be?
Definitely, we need to be happy. Then only that will reflect on our children. And mostly, all the negative thoughts and all the sadness, I think we should keep it behind ourselves. And when we are in front of our kids, we should be a total crazy person. We should be just like them, like a child, and have lot of fun and just be happy with them.
Okay, so if preschoolers ruled for a day, what's the first law they pass?
No bedtime rule. I think every child believes that we don't want to have any bedtime rule. We want to watch TV, we want to hear stories, we don't want to go back and sit on the bed and then sleep and mama's going to put us. No, we don't want that. No rules.
If you could describe childhood in a nursery rhyme, what would it be?
I would say one to buckle my shoe. That would be an apt rhyme for them.
If learning were a superpower, would it be the preschooler's ultimate strength?
It would definitely be curiosity. I think right now, children with a new generation coming up, curiosity is something that is just increasing among them, and we should not be the ones to suppress it.
Right.
We should definitely be the ones to encourage exploration among them by giving them various, instruments and play-based methods of learning.
One magic trick every parent should know to calm down their cranky child.
See, there is no particular magic trick to calm down your child. It is all the basic instinct of a mother. I think at that moment, how you should react to the situation, it depends on that. It depends on your child's personality, how you can calm that. But I would say that take your child, put him on your lap, give him a peck on the cheek, and rub his back and hug him. Just a warm hug. I think that's the magic trick.
So tell me a little more about your preschool, the activities which are conducted.
So basically, Little Bright Stars Preschool is an amalgamation of the Maria Montessori methods and play-based methods.
Yes.
I am an ardent follower of both these educators, and they have brought in so much of good knowledge and imparting good knowledge in their own spheres, which I just felt that it would be so unique to have both the ideas under one roof. So definitely, we have play-based learnings by using, the modern techniques of education that use the toys and slimes, and we use Play-Doh, and we make various things out of it. A lot of importance given to gross motor skills, social skills, all the stages of developmental skills, because we believe that if a child is put in its natural environment and among nature, they learn the most of it. And Maria Montessori apparatuses, there is no doubt that
Yeah.
is the best. So when it comes to cylinders and the primary colors and the secondary colors, it is very informative and it's a great learning process.
Amazing. I think if the new moms are listening, they certainly should come and visit your school.
I'll be glad. And also, our preschool firmly believes that to please bring children when they are 1.5 years old.
All right.
I had also brought my daughter in the school when she was 1 year old, and that really helped her in the long run because it made her more independent. And obviously, there are moments. It can be a week, it can go till a month, that children tend to adjust to a new environment.
Correct.
So the earlier you put them in a preschool setup, the better it is for their growth.
Amazing. I believe we have enjoyed thoroughly all your learnings. Thank you, viewers, for watching this podcast today. I am sure you have resonated with the podcast. If there's anything that you take back from today's podcast, do let us know in the comment section below. Do follow us. Until then, keep exploring and keep chasing your quest.